check this thing out, boys and girls. So someone brought me this little dirt bike. It's a little 125. The engine is a 125, as you can see right there. It's 124, which means it is a 125. I believe it's a 2012 on the sticker here. So it's a 2012 125 Apollo. So that's pretty cool. Just a little Chinese dirt bike, nothing crazy. It's sitting in my buddy's front yard, and he had it sitting there for like multiple weeks, just outside, just chilling. So I messaged him and said, "Hey man, what's going on with this dirt bike?" He said, "Oh, it doesn't run. It kicks over. It has compression. It'll run." He says it'll run on starting fluid. As you can see, it was ridden before. It's all muddy and stuff, so someone did ride it. And it's just been neglected. It looks like it's just been sitting here. You know, I got tires for it. And, well, he had the tires for it and everything. And he was just like, "I don't really have time for this. I don't want to." And I was like, "Hey, what if I fix this up for you? Just see what it goes." And he's like, "Yeah, sure." So I brought it out here, and I'm going to be working on it. I was just messing around with this thing. And it looks like it sat outside a lot, because I found, here's the master link right here. Might just take the chain off. It's gonna probably need a new chain. This thing is like seized up like right here. I got it free by working it, but I feel like if you put a little bit of lubrication on it, it'll free up a little bit. The exhaust is kind of loose on it. Just kind of moves around. But it does have compression, and it does kick over. Well, could be low. Not really sure, but then again, I've never had a 125. It seems like it wants to kick over and stuff, so let's see what goes on. I'll try to kick it a couple times. So I get my foot in there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, we're gonna be working on this for a little bit. Not today, too much. I gotta figure out the axle situation, because there's no axle for it. And except for this one, I was messing around with it. Just doesn't seem right. It doesn't sit in there correctly. So we're gonna go figure that out real quick. And yeah. So this is the new series. I figured I'd put some air in this tire at least to get it aired up. But I gotta put air in it. And there's like a big hole like right here around the bead. So it's not holding air like at all. So that sucks. I don't have a tire thing here. So I guess I'll have to take it to a tire shop. We ended up getting the plastics too. He gave me that just to put them together whenever we get this done. That exhaust is pretty loose. I don't know why they make them like pop riveted, because now when you have like this type of issue, you know, later on, and it gets loose. Spark plug down there, spark plug boot. I mean, this looks pretty new. I haven't dug too much into it. I don't want to worry about this until I get it on the... I want to get it on the wheels first and figure that out so that I can wheel it around at the very least. Maybe, you know what I mean, sit on it. It'd be like a little bike without pedals, you know? And then we'll start hopping into that. But so far that I see, it's going to need a new exhaust, new chain, the front tire mess with, the axles. Trying to think what else it would need off the top of my head. The caliper thing for the rear tire. The brakes work, surprisingly. Like, I was pressing the back brake down and I saw the piston squeeze in, so I know it gets pressure, so the back brakes work. That's not hard to do. This just kind of twists off. I noticed it was a little bit of whatever in there. So that's cool. At least there's no key for that. It's not locked on. The Carburetor feels good. It slaps back in the spot. It's not like it's seized up or anything. Front brakes. Needs a clutch lever. Which I have. I have an extra clutch lever from my quad. I'd be willing to give that away. I think this is the CDI right here. Yeah, that's the CDI right here. Looks like they zip tied it. Some bolts. But yeah, I got the plastics in the seat and everything. So we're gonna start diving into this thing once I get the wheels on it, and we'll come back at this and let you guys know what's going on. Let's see what goes on. I'll try to kick it a couple times so I get my foot in there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, we're gonna be working on this for a little bit. Not today, too much. I gotta figure out the axle. So we're gonna skip this for now until we figure something out. We are definitely gonna need a new wheel. This wheel is chewed up. That sucks. So I'm thinking this is weird because it has a thing there. I don't really see a way for like a brake caliper to like mount to it. So I'm just gonna figure out this carburetor today. So I'm gonna show you guys how to take this carburetor off. This is a 125 Apollo Chinese bike. Basically, you got two 10 millimeters. They're really easy to work on, actually. This is the easiest carburetor that I've ever like be able to get to. So it's just two 10 millimeters, one on this side. You could also take the these off. These look like 8 millimeters. Those are like, yeah, those look like 8 millimeters. That comes straight off, but there's no reason to. It's more of a chance for gravity to get up in there. So 10 millimeters on here, and then there's another bolt on the other side there, which you can get from the other side. Okay, now that you take them two bolts out, it's pretty easy. The next thing is to get your throttle cable. You can see, you know, your throttle cable comes down and around, and then this just screws out of here. Sometimes you need, sometimes you need to get like those lock things or whatever, channel locks. That might help to get this out of there. This just comes out. Be careful when you take it out, because needle, you have the needle and everything. And that's where your needle clip is. Your needle sits in there, and you got to take the spring out. And this looks pretty good. So leave that hang there. Now the next thing is your fuel line coming from the bottom of the tank, and you want to make sure your fuel is off. Make sure your fuel is off, because otherwise you're going to get fuel everywhere, and we don't want that. Oh, yep. See, look, fuel will come out of fuel line. Whoa. A little bit of fuel in there. Not a big deal. All right. Wish I could see. Doesn't look like any fuel is coming through here. There's a little bit of fuel in here, so that might be that might be the issue that they were having, is that this was getting no fuel. But it looks like that this bike sat for a while, so we just took the carburetor off, and we're gonna see what goes on. And I like to play around with it. So hold on, let's get on a bench here where we have like more tools to take this out, because you want to take the bowl off of there, and it's just 2 Phillips heads. So I gotta go find a Phillips head screwdriver. So I'll be right back. All right, so now you get the carburetor out here. It looks like this is pretty cool. Choke is on here, and with the thing down, I think choke is off. You know, you're basically removing airflow and you're adding more fuel. We're richening the mixture. So that's what happens whenever you're choking the carburetor. And if you turn choke off, you're no longer choking it, you're allowing more airflow to come in. So that's how a choke works. That's pretty cool. So pretty cool. So for this is pretty easy. 2 screws on the bottom of the bowl. Be careful using a drill. I'm a professional, so I won't strip them out. So you take these out, right? And the bolt comes off of here. Be careful, there's the gasket. I like to keep all my bolts and screws together to make sure that it stays together. You set that up there. And here you have the floats. And basically, when there's fuel in there, these floats are supposed to come down and actually, like, at resting stage, it's supposed to come down and sit level. That could be why. I don't know if it's supposed to sit like that. Those, maybe you're supposed to, like, that's supposed to be like that when you have fuel in there. That could be a reason, but we're gonna see. I need to get a flathead. All right, so we're gonna pull. This bigger one is the main jet. This controls like full throttle. That comes out of there. The smaller one, this longer one here beside it, is the pilot jet. The pilot jet controls when the bike is idling. So he said that the bike does not run when it's idling, but it'll run when it's... So if you're looking at, basically you get a light, you could look up at the sun or any type of light, you could look through there. This is not clogged. You can blow through them. There's a couple holes on the side that you can see through. And this is not clogged. So I'm gonna check the rest of this out here. Now this is the main jet. The main jet's definitely bigger than the pilot because you're wide open throttle. And that's not clogged either. So why would it not be starting at all? Let's see here. So let's take this out of here. I don't have my pick with me, so... Oh, there we go. It's coming out. That pin's coming out. Okay, so the pin for the float should come out. And then this just bends down and up. And ew, this looks gross. So here's your floats. Normally, sometimes water gets in those will start overflowing. This looks grody, look at that. See that? It's gross. I'm surprised that this carburetor is not clogged. So I wonder if he took the carburetor off and cleaned it to try to get it running. And it didn't solve that. Interesting. Okay. So now, I'm gonna take this out of here. Now these carbs are generally universal when it comes to this jetting. And if you want to know how you get the perfect setting, the general rule that I go with is you want to be between 2 and 3/4 or 2 and 3 turns out from light seated. But this is just in there with a spring. All dirty in there. Ew. Yeah, this is clogged. So check this out. So I took that one jet out of there, or where that thing is, and I blew in. You see that gunk that come out on my finger? That's nasty. So it tells me that they only cleaned these 2 ports. This was probably gunked up. Ew, gross. I don't see any light coming through there either. Well, those are cleaned. All right, well, I'm going to put this back in there because that was all dirty. It kind of got a little bit of dirt out of there or something, or whatever was in there at least. All right, well, it's clear. It blows air through it. At least not crazy, but it blows. So let's do... I'm curious if this goes in there. And I don't see any markings on this, unless it's on the inside. I don't see any markings on that to check and see the size of main jet. If that's the case, if it needs more, I'm gonna have to upgrade this main jet and get a bigger main jet. But it's the 125. It should run on whatever is in here, or it could be the pilot jet. Might need a bigger pilot. And this pilot jet doesn't have any markings on it either, and it doesn't tell me exactly what size it is. So pilot jet might be too small. Or it could be Y. So we'll see what goes on. Let's get this together again. The needle sits in there. The needle was really dirty. This might even be like an aftermarket carb too. I don't know. All right, so let's get this. All right, let's pull this back out. Okay, so let's put that one on there. This pin in. Oh, missed. I would miss. Where'd the needle go? Huh? Oh, the needle came off. Mother. Alright, so I got that. This needle came off. Freaking thing. I don't know why it came off. I thought it was in there, but maybe it wasn't. Weird. It's supposed to go in like that. What's the difference? I don't think it goes in like this. Yep, like that. Maybe it came off of there and I didn't notice. I thought I put it. Oh yeah, like that. Okay, so let's put this pin in there. All right, so off camera, what I was doing is there's a little tab in there that holds the float in there, and when you're holding it upside down, it kind of rests, and there's like lines on the round float. And what I did was I took them lines and I bent the tab down. So basically the way the carb works is fuel is coming in. Fuel is going to be coming into this little hole here. And then it goes in, and then there's the float right there, the little float needle. once so much fuel gets in this bowl, like this, once so much fuel gets into this bowl, the floats will rise up. And then as it pushes up, it'll push that float up, and it'll block off fuel from coming in from getting too much fuel. And from where it was sitting at in the beginning, there was basically, I think, too much fuel coming in here. And I think what was happening is it was probably, or something was going on with it. I don't know. It was definitely dirty, but it flows freely now. And I'm putting it back together. We're going to take it back up. We're going to put it in. And then I have 93 that I'm going to add to the tank. And even there was like not enough fuel to come through. It's either that, and then the other thing that I'm thinking is the petcock might actually be a little bit like clogged, because you know there's probably a bunch of rust or whatever in there. So we're gonna get this back up and get it on the bike, and then I'm gonna find my fuel and take it up there and put some fuel in there and see what we can get. All right, so we're back here at the bike. I'm gonna get this back in here. It's pretty simple. We'll get the needle in there. Make sure the needle goes all the way through. There's little alignment lines in there. You just kind of line that up, and then this will tighten down on it. And then I was looking at it weird. Okay. Line these up. Get them started. Start threading them in there. And a 10mm ratchet. I got a bad angle for you guys. I'll have to get my thingy, my tripod. But basically all I'm doing is you're just putting the 10mm bolts back in there, tighten them back down. Well, I found out why there's no fuel. I found out why it doesn't run. Case closed, boys. It's clogged. I'm just now seeing the fuel. All right, so that's all the way up. I put about 2 gallons of gas in here. That took almost all 2 gallons. So that was basically completely empty. So I don't have a cup. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take the cap off of the fuel, and then and put the fuel line over top of the thing. Ew. It's like very poor flow. So when I turn the fuel on, so this is the flow of fuel, if you guys can see it. I'll turn it on. do this. Okay, hold on. Let me choke it. They give it a couple. Oh, Jesus. Let me choke it. Oh, kickback. Oh, you know what I didn't check? I did not turn that carburetor all the way out. It ran for a couple seconds, but I didn't turn the air fuel out like as much as it needed to come out. All right, so the air fuel is located right here, and I don't think I adjusted it at all. That is tight. So we're gonna go half, 1, half, 2. 2 is a good start. We're gonna start there and see what it does. So put you guys. So I tightened that fuel air screw down and I didn't even adjust it to where it needed to be. I turned it out to 2, so we're gonna try and see what that does. Okay, well, the idle is way up there where it doesn't need to be. That's off, and it went way the fuck up there. There's also no filter on it either, so that's on, choke on, with more air, more fuel. Let me see. Where is the fuel? I wonder where the idle is. I wonder if that's the idle on the top. Hold on. So I wonder if that's just way too high. Or wait. This might be. Yeah. Half. 1. God damn it. Let's take this back here. Still just revs way up there, and it smokes like crazy too. All right, that's choke on. So this is choke off. All right, choke off. Should be getting all the air in the world, so it might be getting not enough fuel somewhere. feel like compression might be a little low on this thing. Because it just literally falls right down. Let's choke on. Do a little half choke here. Now that it's all warm, let's try half again. I adjusted this to come out half. So if the choke's on, less air. That's weird. Try choke on, see what happens. It wanted to go. I think compression's low. Either because I don't think that there's a decompression mechanism. I want to give you guys a quick update real quick. I took this carb apart to check I'm going to replace the jets in it. Because as of right now, there's no marking on them to like tell me what size they are, which is not good. Because then I can't, you know, if I don't know what size jetting they are, then how am I supposed to know what it needs to be tuned to or what it is or what it's running? So, or it gets me in the ballpark. So I want to show you guys this little thing. There's a little needle valve in here. You see that needle valve right there? Moving up and down as I push it up. See how like when I push it up in there? So this would simulate the bowl getting, so like as this float goes up, that would be fuel. My thumb would be the fuel pushing this float up, right? See how like kind of gets stuck there? You know what I mean? And then this has to pull it back down. I feel like that shouldn't be getting stuck in there. So I'm wondering if that's getting stuck in there, and then maybe like this comes down just enough to where there's not enough fuel in the bowl to actually keep the bike running. You know what I mean? Like how that bowl kind of has to pull that down there. I'm wondering if that's the issue with the fuel. I'm gonna get it a good clean, make sure that that is just kind of falling with itself. Wouldn't really make any sense to me, but you know, so if we push this up, the idle valve at this point, that's lower than the idle, and then that's the rest of the way it pulls it out of the way. Hold on, let me try to focus this. So, let me see if I can get it level. So imagine this. Where's that? There it is. So it's going to come down, and then that's lower than the idle jet. So the idle jet wouldn't even be reaching the fuel, and then it finally pulls that back down. So let me see again. Yeah, so I'm thinking because of this this needle sticking, I think that it's not getting enough fuel and it's just starving itself and not running. So that's what I'm thinking right now. So I'm gonna keep this apart for now and get some carb clean or something, or figure out another way that I could clean this, because that is pretty gummed up in there, and get it all cleaned out, get it back together, maybe get it running, because we did get the bike running, but it doesn't stay running. After that little bit, wouldn't run. So I'm thinking that's the problem. And they said if you sprayed starting fluid in there, then yeah, that would make sense. So, and then I'm also going to replace the jetting. I was reading online for these bikes, for little 125s, good starting points. I'm going to start pointing it there, and then we're going to do all that. So I'm going to start this. We're going to pull this back out here. I think this is the fuel air mixture screw right here. I believe this is the fuel air right here. This is indeed on the airbox side, and then this is the middle. So this is because this controls the throttle. No, maybe not. I might be wrong. I think this controls the slide. Whatever. Hold on, I'll tell you in a second. That would be that. I'm just getting these out of here. Screwing these. Screw. And the other one. These Chinese carbs are ridiculous. So they're both kind of pointed. That's definitely a Chinese carb. So I think this is the... I think this is the idle. And then whenever I was adjusting the other one, that's not even a tip. Usually, like, air fuel screws have, like, a very pointy tip. This has, like, just a flat end to it. Wonder if that has anything to do with it. I don't know. I had it running, so. This is the... Oh, it's not even screwing in. I was messing with one of them, and I think that's that. Yeah, because this is light seat. So this is the fuel air. So we're going to go half, 1, half, 2. Yeah, okay. So we're just going to leave it at half. We're going to leave it fully seated for now. So anyway, that's the update on that. Chinese carbs. I'm going to get some carb clean or something and get that done. Get it cleaned up so it doesn't stick. I'm thinking that's what's happening, is that is actually sticking and not allowing, like, fuel to come back and, like, flow back into the bowl. And then on idle, it's not idling, so. And you can kind of see the inside of the bowl here. That's very dirty. So I'm just going to get some carb clean. This gasket feels still like a gasket, so that's good. But I'm going to get some carb clean. I'm just going to spray carb clean into a bucket and just literally throw all of these parts, like take them all out, just let them soak for a day, and then actually do that. That'd be nice. That's pretty bad. Imagine you're jetting, like, sucking some of that dirt up. It's going to immediately clog it. Now your bike's not going to run, so. Okay, so we dug through my random bits of jetting that I have, and as you guys can see, I have a 120 main jet, and then I think this one is also main jet, just for like a different style carburetor. That's also 120. And then for our slow jet here is a 40. That's what Google said. Currently, as you can see, it's kind of raining out. I'll go up here in a second if it slows down a little bit with the rain, and I'll tinker with the jetting and stuff, because I got to move some stuff around. But I'm going to put these main jet and slow jet in here, and then I'm also going to hit it with the carb clean on that, let it soak a little bit, and hopefully that clears up that gunk in there. And if it doesn't work, worst case scenario, I just have to get a new carburetor. Really didn't want to, but whatever. Not a big deal. So yeah, we're gonna cut it. I'll be up there. So check this out. I was like taking a look at it. I rolled this out. I didn't even think about it to look at it. But this is the idle jet from the carburetor, and the jet like that are in like keying carbs are like that. You can see the difference. See the threading? This is the same issue that I had with the other one. That's not gonna work. So this is just a cheap Chinese carb. I don't know if this is an aftermarket carb or if this is the carb that comes on these Apollo dirt bikes, but I'm gonna try to clean this out one more time with carb cleaner and try to get that needle like kind of cleaned up so it's not sticking. There's like an ant from it sitting, but I'm gonna try to clean it up best as I can, put it back on there. Worst case scenario, it doesn't run, and then I just have to get another carburetor, like a better, I'm gonna go with like a Nibby carb, because I gotta get an air intake anyways, so regardless, we'll see what happens. We're gonna do the carb clean, and then we're gonna try to start it again. All right, so here's that needle jet. It looks a lot cleaner. I'm gonna give it like a little scrub real quick, but it looks all right now. It doesn't look as bad. This was the inside of the bowl. You can see all that dirt in there. It's all nasty. Still got a little bit in there, like in the bottom, but I'm gonna spray it out some more and try to like agitate the dirt and kind of clean the bowl out, keep it from getting dirty again. Because when I pulled them jets out of the actual carburetor, the jetting, the slow jet was actually clogged again. So I'm gonna clean the rest of this out of here and then, you know, agitate, you know, and then maybe get it back together. Maybe we'll have a lot better luck, because I did have it running. I think what happened was it probably sucked up some of that. Plus with that, like not getting any fuel into the bowl because of the needle sticking, I think it just didn't run right. So let me get this cleaned up real quick. All right, so we got that kind of cleaned out. That's just hard stuff on the carburetor down there. That's not even dirt. I sprayed it out, gave it a good, so it looks better now. I'm gonna get this back assembled. I have all the parts right here for it. Make sure I don't get any dirt in there. I put it on top of my beanie. But all the parts are right here. I'm gonna put it back together real quick. Or no, wait, I'm gonna clean this needle off. As you can see, it's cleaner too. Hold on, let me get it to focus. It's a little cleaner. It looks a little rough, but I mean, I'm gonna clean it up with the carb clean real quick and kind of just dust it off of the dirt and get it all back together. But after hitting it with the carb clean, this needle doesn't stick anymore, so I'm thinking that might have been part of the issue. I want to give you guys a little after. So after I clean this, clean the needle, watch the needle right there. So like, it kind of sticks there a little bit, but for the most part, like whenever I bring this down, it's in constant contact with the thing. It doesn't really get stuck up in there unless I push it like that, but it'll still just fall. So that's how I'm thinking that was the issue, part of the issue. I mean, aside from like dirt and everything in there. Okay, here is our needle. You can get this in there. Kind of rough because of the. Just go left until it gets on the threading. Bring it down. Okay. So I went to loosen the spark plug. The spark plug wasn't even tight. I just barely touched it and it was like, oh, I'm out. Looks like it's oiled. Very oiled and black. Which, there's oil on it.